All right. Welcome, CaliVibes Disc Golf, episode 1, our first podcast ever. I'm Jordan, also known as the Prez
I'm Mike. I'm known as Loudmouth.
or Mikey.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
that's usually what I would call you, Mikey. It always reminds me of Ninja Turtles. It was always my favorite. So it's
Yeah.
like, you're kind of my favorite too. Like, it works out, right? So we're going to start off with introductions. Obviously, we gave you our names. And then we had the question, how long have we been playing disc golf? So for me, it's been 12 to 13 years, approximately, that I've been playing disc golf. How
That's a
about
long time.
yourself?
I've been playing for February was my 5 year mark.
Dude, it's been 5 years already.
5 years.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's pretty
Wow.
crazy.
I remember when he joined the club, I had to meet him in the parking lot and give him a tag. Yeah, never forget it. Super awesome. So we are amateurs first and foremost. We are amateurs, disc golfers, right? We are nowhere near professionals.
No. Some
Eh,
days, some
right?
days we're
And
close.
and and when I think it's safe to say we're also amateur podcasters too, right?
Very.
Like it's very different. Like I'm kind of used to talking in front of a camera just because being president of our local disc golf club, I do videos like updates every now and then. But how often you find yourself in front of a camera,
Never.
right? Yeah. So this will be interesting
I've
for
made
sure.
TikToks. I've made lots of TikToks. That's about it.
This smells really good.
It really is.
So part of our podcast is we're going to be trying to sip on a beverage every now and again. Tonight's beverage of choice is this Weller. Ooh, let's see if that can
Mm,
focus. Ooh, I might have to mess with the autofocus. So that might be something. So this is the special reserve, 45%, so 90 proof. It is an allocated bottle, so it's kind of tough to get. We were lucky to we
very lucky.
yeah, I just got one in my collection, and this is Mikey's bottle right here. This is actually the first time I haven't had it yet. This is my first time smelling it and trying it, so that's why I was like, "Oh, this smells really good." Um, so sponsors, I am sponsored by Prodigy Discs. I'm on the street team. This is my second year with them, and then this will be my first year with Team OTB, baby. Let's go, OTB. Yeah, I love OTB. I love everything they've done. They've been a staple in our local disc golf scene since I started way back when Danny was, in the suburban showing up to tournaments and setting up. That was his shop. He didn't have a brick and mortar spot. So yeah, super thankful to be on Team OTB this year.
Yeah. OTB has been like you said, a huge is an understatement, I think. Also sponsored by Prodigy. This is my second year.
Yeah.
Yeah, second year on the street team, which I love. And then I've also joined Team Disc Store. We'll be battling with OTB one
Right.
day. But when I first started playing disc golf, one of the things they offered was a monthly disc box. So each month you got a different brand, a different disc, a different something. So it really got me to get familiar with a lot of disc in the game, and just fell in love with what they provided. And now they offered me a spot on their team. So
Yeah. And they still have that too, right?
yes, they do.
Yeah, so
Yes.
check out Disc Store if you're interested in like some kind of monthly box. I'm sure most of you have probably heard of it. It's one of the few. It kind of was the the first
Yeah.
monthly box from what I can remember seeing.
Yeah, definitely.
But cool, yeah, definitely a cool vibe. And then I kind of mentioned already that I'm president of Modesto Area Disc Golfers. So that's our local club here in Modesto, California, baby. That's why we got them Cali vibes. And Mikey is on the board as well.
Oh yeah, been on the board for shoot, I think 4 years.
Yeah,
I
sure.
jumped right in.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even test the water. I was just, let me get in this thing.
Right. And so we are huge in building our local community. And we thought that, and that actually is a great segue. Look at me naturally doing this. Let's go into our second talking point, which is our purpose for this podcast. Why are we doing this, Mikey?
Well, because of you.
That is accurate. It was
Uh,
my idea. S- and I had talked about it, and then Mikey was like, "Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to do that."
Yeah.
And shout out to Danny Corbett again. I was actually initially thinking about trying to do a book of like the local history in the Central Valley of like disc golf and how it got started and like how courses got put in and like the pioneers in our local area. And it was actually Danny's idea to do a podcast to talk about it. Um, and then that way we had all the information recorded, we could put it out there and then potentially take that information and create a book afterwards. And I think that was a wonderful idea. And that's kind of morphed into one highlighting local disc golf,
Oh yeah,
like in
definitely.
general, right? Like so one of our talking points tonight is going to be the CVS tournament series here in our local area. Um and highlighting local players. And then eventually, kind of once we get the hang of it, we're gonna try to have some guests on, and talk about the history, and that'll be like a session. So we'll do like a H session H1 will be like session history one, and then maybe we'll do other sessions too. If you guys have cool ideas, let us know in the comments
Yeah.
below. Um,
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
yeah, exactly, right? I never thought I would actually be saying that. Like, I don't have cable. I consume a lot of YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
that is my cable basically, right? So it's awesome. This is an awesome experience to be able to do this. So we're excited to do
Hmm.
this. What do you think our schedule is gonna look like? We kind of talked about it super briefly when we first had the idea. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, we with our being disc golfers, our schedules are always hectic and busy, so it's always up in the air what our schedule is going to look like. But
Yeah.
I'd like to make an episode once a week,
Yeah. Yeah. I think
eventually
that's a little aggressive.
a little aggressive
I
to
think
show pride in the
every
nation.
other week for
Yeah,
now would be a great goal to hit.
yeah,
And it and that's just us being transparent. Like we said, we're figuring it out as we're doing it. It
rookies.
kind of yeah, it kind of just came up like I told him I'm pretty sure I have all the stuff to kind of get started. Like let's just do it.
Hmm.
And so here we are. Yeah, I think that's good. Once a week would be awesome eventually, but by or I don't think it's bi-weekly. I don't think that's right. But maybe, I don't know. But every 2 weeks or at the very least once a month.
Yeah,
Like that's the
definitely.
hard line. Like we'll be at least once a month. So be on the lookout for more. Okay.
Yes.
So that gets us into our tournament recap. So the CVS series or the Central Valley series is a series that's been going on for this is the 30th.
30th year.
Yes, this is the 30th year of the CVS series. If you had to describe it to someone who wasn't aware of it, how would you describe the CVS?
For me, it's just a great entry to get into the tournament schedule life and just get into the tournaments practicing and no pressure of a rating. And it's great for beginners. It's great for all levels, but especially beginners because, like I said, there's no pressure of a rating, and that's how I got started.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's not sanctioned. So it's unsanctioned. The entire series is unsanctioned. W- I actually kind of wanted to make Modesto's sanctioned one time. That did not go over well. There was all that was a hot take. Tell you what. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And honestly, from the tournament, I was thinking it from the TD perspective because when you do have a sanctioned league, or not a league, but a sanctioned event, so much more support comes with it, including scoring, right? Like online scoring through the PDGA. I mean, counting cards at lunch seems so antiquated from a TD
Mm, mm,
perspective, and
mm,
it's
mm.
so difficult. So that's what that had brought about. But yeah, I would agree. Um, I think some people tend to see the CVS too as like a really fun way
Yes.
to let loose
Yeah.
tournament. So where it's not as strict rules, right? So kind of like everyone hanging out, drinking, everyone does their own thing, smoking or whatever. And typically that's allowable, within the law, of course, gotta say that.
Yeah.
Um,
Nothing illegal goes down. I'll tell you that.
yeah.
Uh,
Anyways, go to a disaster. Yeah,
Yes.
go to a
The
disaster.
Amador is by far the greatest
Hmm.
stop for CVS. The greatest. I love it. Every year
It's
it's
so
better.
good. And we host our own, so that, we obviously have some bias with that, but yeah, Amador is just fun. We camp. It is a great atmosphere. It really is. So that takes us to our most recent CVS, and this is where we're going to get the opportunity to talk about some local golfers. And so that takes us to the Bakersfield, right? Which was the Billy
Billy
Goat
Goat.
Classic.
Such a tough course,
Yeah,
especially in the wind.
how many times have you played Bakersfield?
I've played 3 times there.
I've only played once, and that was that year after COVID, and I think we only played one round. And it
Yeah.
was like a modified layout.
I played that year.
It kicked my ass.
Oh
It
yeah.
was so tough. Um, yeah, but fun, especially the mountainside is just such a unique, difficult course. Really,
Mhm.
really, really great addition to the CVS series. So going down the list in MP40, we had Joshua Sappenfield,
AKA the mayor.
the mayor,
Feasting on that bird meat.
getting in first place. First place. I'm trying to see if it will show me what his score was. So that's the leaderboards. I don't think it's showing me. It did before, and now it's not. So I'll have to. Oh, tournament detail. Aha! Figured it out. See, we're live, baby. Let's go. So round one, he shot a 59, and round two, a 55. So a total of 114. It's a par 57. So it looks like, yeah, both rounds were par 57. So he shot a two over and then he shot a two down to end up even. And he was tied with Quentin Higgins, but I believe he won the playoff. And so what we did was we reached out to a few players who were on the list that we'll talk about to kind of get a statement from them. And my son was texting me, so that threw me off a little bit. Sorry. About what did they have to say about the tournament? So here is Sappenfield's lengthy
Wow.
response. Yeah, he took it seriously. He was nervous. And I was like,
That's
dude,
amazing.
it's totally fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So these are Sap's words. So it says, my recipe for success isn't tough to follow. First off, course knowledge plays a huge part in my game. I've been lucky enough to play this amazing game for 24 years now. I've played Shark Tooth many, many times, and I've learned over these years on how to play certain holes and how not to. This applies to all the courses that I've played or competed at throughout my career. Secondly, golf is not a game of perfect. Golf is a game of consistency. I couldn't agree more with that,
Yeah.
right? You're going to make mistakes,
Oh yeah.
100%. And like dealing with those mistakes, I think is super huge. I added my own words in there, obviously. Sometimes you bogey and sometimes you birdie. The player is going to take some whacks, bogey, bad roll, stuck in a tree, etc. It happens. It's part of the game. The better player is going to breathe and let it go as fast as possible. Mental exhaustion is real, and the rebound of executing the next shot means more than the last. Wow, that's
Yeah.
that's a great statement. I'm going to read that again. The rebound of executing the next shot means more than the last. Wow,
That's
that
pretty deep
that's
right
that.
there.
You're right, dude. That
Yeah.
I need to remember that tomorrow, baby. Let's go.
Yes.
Stay focused and trust whatever routine you have. Without a consistent routine, your game will most likely fail. Lastly, the most fun wins. I'm sure everyone has heard this before. That's the reason why we're all here playing day in and day out. The Magi family is big, and big time fun runs through all our veins. I'm just gonna go ahead and do a little right
Yeah.
clap. That was nice. Well done, Sap. Thank you for providing that information for us and a little insight. If you know Sap, you know that he's a stellar golfer.
Oh man, stellar. Form
Cons-
smooth,
yeah,
putting
consistently
smooth.
top of the
Oh yeah,
leaderboards.
every time.
Consistently.
All he wants is a chance.
Right?
He knows what I'm talking about.
uh Yeah, so nice job. Uh, Sappenfield, the mayor of Modesto.
Mm.
We also have in MA1, Darian Heltney.
Help me? Yeah.
Yeah, Darian, when you watch this, you better watch this, bud. Tell me if I'm saying that right. So this was also both par 57, both rounds. So he came in second place, shooting a 63 the first round and a 55 the second round. Wow, that is a huge stroke swing.
Yeah.
So nice job, Darian. He overall, of course, he shot a 118, and the leader shot a 115. So he was only 3 strokes off the lead.
Yeah.
So he was right in the mix. Darian is a super smooth golfer. And he's been around for a while, but he's now starting to be way more consistent in the tournament
Yes.
scene, which is awesome to see. And
Hmm.
he's a solid dude as well.
Oh yeah, he's
Um,
leaving a huge footprint wherever he goes. He is just doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And so he had this to say about his Bakersfield time um, for the CVS tournament. He said, "Oh man, my time at Bakersfield was a blast, bro. The weather was great during the tournament. I feel as though the Legacy Squad TD ran it very well. It went smoothly. We used UDisc, and that again went very well. First round was on the flats, and they were very long. I learned a lot and was exposed to a lot. Longer holes, upshots, etc. Be more confident and accurate. LOL. Second round went well on Shark Tooth. Had more birdies, I believe, and just soaked in the fun side of the tournament play, especially on the long bomb top of the world holes. They
Love
were
that.
really fun. Even if I bogeyed one of them, had a 3-way tie for second, went the distance on 6 holes, and finally got the win.
Wow.
Great course overall. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, now that I'm seeing this, Patrick White and Hua Meng View, hopefully I'm saying that right, buddy, all shot a 118. And so Darian was able to do a 6-hole playoff. You've done
Yeah.
a pretty lengthy playoff in your career, so to speak, right?
Oh yeah.
Amador was
Amador,
several
my very
holes.
first win. It was I don't remember how many holes, but there was a few of them. And
Camera just made a weird noise. Oh no. Hold on. What's going on here? Come on. Hey, we're back. All right, so that was unexpected. Hey, we fixed it.
hey, amateur
Right? It's a
move
good thing I
there.
heard that though, and I was like, wait a second, that's not supposed to be happening. Anyways, Wameng View, yeah, 3 hole. Oh, and you were talking about Amador.
Yeah, yeah, that was my first win. It was like a 3 or 4 hole shootout, and it was probably one of the greatest moments of my life having the whole club watching me on that final hole hit that putt to beat Brad Farr. Oh man,
Lodi local.
Lodi
Yeah,
local, great guy by the way. And yeah, enough about me. Let's talk about these guys.
yeah. So nice job, Darian. Thanks for sharing that. I think there was something I wanted to talk about what he said. Um, oh, the TD aspect. Like, thanks, Darian, for mentioning the TD. I think as a player, sometimes it's super easy to not realize how much frickin' work goes into putting on events.
So much.
He knows because he's been a part of it. And afterwards, he was like, never again.
Yeah. Never.
And so I've ran several tournaments now, 3. I think last year's SenCal was my 3rd event potentially. But yeah, it is a ton of work. So shout out for mentioning the TD. I think that's awesome. Um, and yeah, it is a lot of work. UDisc scoring too, game changer, even for unsanctioned rounds. Again, taking
Yes.
out that paper scoring, adding up is getting your score wrong and getting stroked.
I wouldn't know about that. Mm-mm. Oh, so mad at myself.
There's a story there. That'll have to be for another
Yeah.
episode, right? That'll have to be a hot take.
Hot
Yeah,
take.
yeah. We'll have to remember that one. But yeah, so being a TD isn't easy. So when you're at an event, try to keep that in mind because we're super passionate about the game. So it's easy to be passionate about other things, especially if we're not playing well and we're frustrated already. TDs are just trying to do their best. So,
Yeah.
let's try to remember that. And then MA50, also a uh, prodigy team
Yes.
member, Michael Kennedy, shooting a 61 the first round and a 68 the second round, overall 129, won by one stroke.
Tight race.
Yeah, super tight race. Kennedy had this to say. He said, I may have won the tournament, but it wasn't because I shot well. It was because my opponents shot worse than me. The course was set up very hard, very long. The wind did not help. He said, playing Bakersfield is not about playing well or getting birdies. It's maintaining as best you can and avoiding as many bogeys as possible. Sometimes it's easy to get into that mindset where you're like, sort of don't want a par. You're focused on the birdies. But if a par is coming your way and then you try to manufacture something, a lot of times that's when you get in trouble, right? And you
Oh,
start losing
yes.
your focus and getting off of your game plan. I know I struggle with that quite a bit. Uh,
Every stroke matters.
yeah. And then shout out in MA2, excuse me, Babs. Yeah, boy. He got third place with a shooting of 53 the first round and a 71 the second
Wow.
round. And I believe he got
Just
his
kidding.
right. I believe he got his first tournament ace.
He did.
Right. I remember
Yeah.
him seeing that he posted about that. Babs, my bad, G. I didn't hit you up to get your statement, so you'll just have to perform well at the next one, and then we'll make sure to include
Yeah.
you, right? So,
Maybe do a run up. Who
right,
knows?
much love, Babs. So that kind of closes it out for Bakersfield, and of course, let me say this too: there's a whole slew of names that we did not mention. So, like, don't get your feelings hurt if, maybe you got first and we didn't mention you. We're just not familiar with your name. If you're watching this and you're like, oh man, I totally podiumed, like, I would like my name mentioned, then go ahead and email us at caligoose1217 at gmail.com. CaliGoose 1217 at gmail.com. And if you get a podium in a local tournament, just send me a blurb about like a, paragraph. It could be a couple sentences. You choose your style, whatever works. And let me know about like how it went for you. How would you describe it? What do you have to say about your performance and the tournament overall? We would love to include that. Even if we're not familiar maybe with who you are. Okay. With that being said, so today's Friday, the 8th, right? Yeah, Friday the 8th. Tomorrow is Merced.
Yes.
What are your expectations for tomorrow, buddy?
To survive.
Merced's tough.
It is very tough. We are expecting some good weather, so it should be all right. And Merced, man, they got some holes out there that'll eat you up and spit you out. So as
It's
long as you
so
can
good.
persevere and get through the horseshoe without going into the water, not
Yeah.
go be in the landing strip. There's some new holes I've never even played.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of it we're going to be playing blind. They've done a lot of coursework from what I understand. So that's awesome. I love Merced, but I typically don't play well there. So my game plan is just to have fun
Yep.
because in Amador, round one, I had that mindset and I shot pretty well. I was on chase card, and then I got that chase card vibe, and I was started like counting strokes and really worried about my shots and worrying about what other people on the card was doing. And again, complete amateur here, obviously. Man, that just it went downhill in a hurry. So keep having fun. That's
Yes.
gonna be my goal for tomorrow. Anything else to say about Merced?
Honestly, if I can just touch on how much they have grown and just come up, oh my God. First time I went to Merced, 6 people at their weekly, not a whole lot going on. Now you go and you're like, oh my God, Jason, Manny, and everyone, Tyler, all if I'm forgetting names, sorry, but
Hmm.
your club is booming and I
Yeah.
love it.
And they're like doing a lot more activity together as a club, like posting more as a club. Like they're really
Made
trying
it to
to
the
build.
paper.
Say that
They
again?
made it to the paper.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They were in
Yeah.
the newspaper, right? Yeah, like really building that community, which is awesome. I mean, that's what it really comes down to, right? Like that's why we play disc golf. And that's why I'm still involved with the club and I do all the things that I do is the community. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. So yeah, that a great point. That shout out to them and all
Yeah.
the work. I'm excited for tomorrow for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now that's gonna take us to hot take. So we
Dun,
played
dun, dun.
right. We played a round yesterday at La Loma. So as our local course, excuse me. And I've been doing this winter weekly league on UDisc. It's free to play. It's just for fun. I've been giving out prizes. I've been fortunate enough through Prodigy and OTB to get some swag and stuff, and so I'm just kind of giving back to the people, so to speak. Um, and so we were playing around yesterday in hole 4. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with hole 4 up in the front, it's a little shorty. It's to the right in a clump of trees in the position that we're talking about
Near the bridge.
near the bridge. And there's a walking path that goes behind the hole and
Asphalt.
kind of perpendicular to the fairway, if you will, right? And it's paved, it's a paved path. Okay. And then next to the tee pad, way back on the hole, there's gravel that goes around in front of the basket and the tree area. And then it meets up with the paved path. The verbiage on the T sign is north of paved path and path OB. Now, in ever since I've been playing that hole, we have played it as the gravel is OB. The hot take is that's not what the sign says. In my interpretation, when you say north of paved path, you're talking about so the other side. If you go beyond the path, right? That's OB and the path is OB, right? Doesn't say anything about gravel. Is the gravel a path? Yes. But is the path north of paved path and path OB, is that second path really differentiated from the paved path? Are we talking about the same one? Very confusing. Not great use of language and specificity. That's a good word,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. So that's my opinion. That's my take on the verbiage. What do you think?
Well, I mean, you know what I think. We were arguing pretty good yesterday,
I
and
landed on the path to be completely
it's on the
transparent.
let's say it's on the sign. That is clearly OB. After a long thinking,
Yeah.
after thinking about it for a long
And
time, I was
talking
like,
about it, yeah.
north of paved path, meaning the grass, the dirt, the river,
Yeah.
the path. I see where you were coming from, so I do apologize.
What I think so it's intended to mean the gravel,
I think so.
right? Like that
Pretty
whole
sure.
yeah, right, Koski, chime in.
Mm,
I think it's supposed to be the gravel, but that's not what it means. Or that's not what it states, in my opinion. So if you're a Modesto local or just a Central Valley local and you're familiar with hole 4 on the tennis court side, chime in. Tell
yeah.
us what you think. What is your interpretation of that verbiage? North of paved path and path OB.
And what do you think the verbiage should say?
Oh, yes. Even better, dude. Let's go.
Teamwork
Do our
victory.
work for us. I love it. That's smart teaching right
Yes,
there, dude. All right, so that's our hot take. Oh, my sorry, I got loud and like the little mic thing went red, so that might be a little too loud. So I apologize if that's the case.
it wasn't me.
Right? So, all right, here's our last talking point. Mike, and so we're going to try to do questions every other episode. So this will be my turn to ask Mikey a question, and then next time he can have a question. It could be the same one. You can come up with your own. It's completely up to us. there's no real rules here. So my question was, explain how you got into disc golf, time frame, reasons why, and why do you continue to be involved in the sport?
First time I ever played, a friend of mine was moving out of state and he's wanted to get together and go play frisbee golf at the time. That's what I called it. And we went to the front nine and I was on hole five. I was probably 100 to 120 feet from the basket and I threw it in. First birdie ever. And it was like a really big one. And there were some people sitting over there, and I wish I could remember who they were. They were cheering and clapping, like, nice shot. And from that moment, I was hooked. I literally left the course, went to play it again, bought a bag, bought some discs, and just hit it ground running. Like it was insane. And then I someone said, "Oh, there's a club here." I said, "No way." Tried to join the Facebook page. Koski blocked me. So then I had to hit up every single admin. Billy Yee reached out, cleared it up, added me, and that's when I called Jordan, bought a tag. I got right in, and like literally that week or a couple weeks later, there was a meeting. I showed up to his
In
house
my
in his
garage,
garage.
yeah.
I met all the guys and I was just hooked. The camaraderie with this club is amazing. Your family, like right out the gate. And
Yeah, that was pre-COVID. I know that's a
yes.
weird term to use, but unfortunately, that's a pretty big historical time period to base events on. And so we were having meetings like once a month
Hmm.
at that time. And then that really put a damper. And honestly, we still haven't recovered and been able to get on a schedule with meetings. Part of that is the space because my garage has not been accessible for a long time, and then schedules too, right? With everybody's lives going on and tournaments and my new job recently, it's been a struggle, but for those listening, we are trying our best to
Oh yeah.
continue that. And then
And
so
all
why do
this.
you continue to be so for lack of a better term obsessed with disc golf, right? I would say both of us are obsessed with
Oh
disc
yeah.
golf. 100%.
It's just like I was saying, the camaraderie, the friendship, the fun, the just everything about being a disc golfer is so much fun. And you get off work, you just go to the park, you get your bag, you throw, you have a good time. Whether it was a bad round or a great round, you always have fun. You always see a familiar face,
Yeah,
and just traveling with tournaments, cooking at the cookouts of the village, Billy Yee, moments like that are
right?
just like,
Yeah.
how could you ever leave this? And
It
so yeah,
really is a family.
it
I think
really,
Imagi is definitely
oh yeah,
a family. Not saying that other clubs aren't, but experiencing it firsthand with Mad G, like it's pretty special, and I feel super fortunate to be a part of
oh
that.
yeah,
In the future, I was actually thinking about like talking about clubs and like being a president and talking to city officials and kind of how to do that process. So if you think that's something that would be cool, like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting, I wouldn't mind watching that. Like, again, let me know in the comments, and that's something that I definitely in my wheelhouse that I could like talk about
oh
and
yeah.
kind of explain. Yeah, all right. Any closing thoughts? I will say, let me show this on camera again. This Weller Special Reserve, you were right. It's fantastic. It's supposed to be a $30 bottle. You're lucky if you can find it at 100. I don't think it's worth 100, but 50. That's what I paid the other
Yeah,
day.
50 was good.
Solid, solid. I don't think I would ever pay more than that, but man, it is so smooth, easy sipper. This is a great whiskey to intro or bourbon to bourbon's our whiskey to introduce somebody to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
So smooth.
super, super solid. Yeah, all right.
Almost as smooth as Darian's game.
Hey, well, thank you for joining us. Cali Vibes Disc Golf, episode 1. More to come.
Yeah.
Thanks, dog.
Hey, thank you.
Later.
Love you.